Welcome to America's Heroes Group.
Welcome back to America's Heroes Group. This time with a roundtable on our community partner, National Women Veterans United, the NWVU. August is National Wellness Month. Today is Saturday, August 12th, 2023. Our host is Kelley. I'm Sean Claiborne, the co-host. Our executive producer is Glenda Smith. Our digital media producer is Ivan Ortega of Scouts Arnold Productions, of course, who's not with us today. So see us on WVUN.com. Won't be live streaming on YouTube or Facebook today, but we'll be back there shortly. And our partner is with us, Rochelle Crump. She's a U.S. Army veteran and founder and president of National Women's Veterans United. And we're going to talk about unjust and biased rules and regulations that hurt military women veteran organizations in the state of Illinois particularly, and particularly the Veteran Service Organization State Charter Act, otherwise known as the Public Act 103-0405. How are you guys doing today?
Hi, Sean. We're doing okay. A little disappointed we didn't get a chance to get that media today to get it out further, but we're so happy to be here. The same difference, you know what I'm saying, to be able to tell the public exactly what's going on because people just don't know.
So what do you mean by trying to get the media? What happened?
Well, you know what, the Billigans had their parade today, and we know that's huge, you know, and we know that, you know, they consider that to be the biggest parade in the country. Mm-hmm. And of course, you know, the media were there. There was other things going on today, too. I don't know if you heard they were shooting at the VA hospital, you know, things like that going on today. So we missed an opportunity, in other words, to be able to have media there so that it could have hit the news tonight. And that's what we were looking for because tomorrow is the Veterans Day at the State Fair. And we know that the governor and legislators will be down there, you know, and he'll be talking about those bills that he actually signed. And one of them will be that the legislation which we just noticed.
Mm-hmm. So what does this bill do?
So what this bill does is harmful to our organization, the National Women Veterans United, and solely because we are the only women veterans on the process, on the Veterans Assistance Commission Committee.
No, let's back up for 1 second. Before you go there, we're talking about a bill or a law? We're talking about the law that's actually.
We're talking about a law.
Okay.
It's effective. The 1st of January in 2024. Okay. However, it's Public Act, and you noted that earlier, coming on 103-0405. Mm-hmm. And what that does is it removes us pretty much from the table where we've been sitting for 10 years, being a delegate and alternate for women veterans to speak and to help others to talk about the issues for women veterans and all veterans, you know, because our voice is not just for women veterans, it's for all veterans. However, it impacts us as a women veterans organization because what we have to do now is to remove our seat to be engaged or associated with the Congressional Chartered Veteran Organizations, the American Legion, DAV, VFW. Now, why it doesn't make sense? We served in the same military as they did. We wore the same uniforms as they did. We took the same oath of office as they did. We created the organization for women because we were not welcomed in those organizations for a long time. They always wanted us to go into their auxiliary. And so we started our own organization because we wanted to be able to have things for women veterans, a safe environment, making sure that, you know, if they were overcome when they came home, that they would came home from deployment or even just getting out of the military, that they would have a place to go where they would get information, where they would have someone to talk to, where we can actually vet them and get them in with someone who could help them without them running around in circles trying to figure out which way to go or which way is left or right. And we've done that. We're the only women veterans organization in the state of Illinois with a facility such as that. And not only, as you know, we named it after one of the heroes. We'll call her a hero because she lost her life on behalf of this nation. And so with that being said, we should not have to be associated with any organization other than the one that we have created. We are a not-for-profit organization.
Well, back up for 1 second.
We are registered.
Explain that part of it. So that's, I think, the part that the audience doesn't quite understand. So you have there's a committee that you're a part of. Is that
Yes.
right? Okay. So that's explain
We are
about
a committee.
So explain about that.
And
Talk
I'm
about
gonna
that committee, about the 29 organizations and stuff like that, and then what
Great.
happened.
39.
30, okay.
I'm going to talk about that, and this is just for the Cook County area. Now, there's other areas also in different counties, but we're talking about here in Chicagoland, if you will, in Cook County. Okay? So with that being said, we're on that committee. We are an organization that has a right to be at the table, and at the table means that all of those organizations, because the other 38 are male-dominated, they're all males. They have one other female on there. I believe she's an alternate, but you never see the alternate because the delegates are always at the table.
And what is the committee?
So,
tell us what the committee is.
The committee pretty much is to ensure that well, I'm still so shook up about everything. I'm sorry.
Well, back up and
the
explain.
Veterans Assistance Commission is a organization itself. Actually, they were a not-for-profit organization. And within the last year, it has, or going on 2 years, it has now changed where it's more along the side of the Cook County organization, if you will.
So that
the
Cook
county
Commission
provides funding.
Yeah.
Yes, the Cook County Veterans Assistance Commission is provided funding. These are taxpayer dollars for them to be able to assist veterans, male, female, and family.
Right, and you were on that committee.
So we have,
National Women of Veterans United, and now they're talking about kicking you off the committee. That's what it sounds like.
They're talking about taking us off the committee because we will have to go now and register as a state chartered organization. Well, according to the Secretary of State's office, we are already registered in Illinois. And it indicates in their public information that the Articles of Incorporation is a legal document through which a corporation forms, and that you are sometimes referred to as the charter. And so we're trying to figure out, why do we have to do anything other than what is already done within the Secretary of State's office? Because they have all of these regulations also, which vetted us into being not only just a business, but also one in good standing, because that's the only way you can get a good standing certificate. If you're registered, have those articles of incorporation, and also, you do this every year to assert that, you have a organization, you have members there, you have, that you have a purpose for charitable reasons and purpose.
And
so we do all of that
in that state. So the charter you file
exactly
every year.
in the state of Illinois.
Right. So you file your
correct.
charter. All right. So you can go onto the Secretary of State's website, and you can look up any organization, any charitable organization. It'll say if it's in good standing or not, and you can see if it's a real 501c3 operating in the state of Illinois, and if it's actually legally able to do so, to be a charity in the state of Illinois.
That is correct. That is correct. And so why we need to be associated with another organization that has nothing to do with our organization, and we have nothing to do with their organization, and they haven't even really clarified what they mean when they say you have to. And this is like verbatim from the law, from Public Act, is that we have to have a paid membership of at least 15 individuals and be associated with a congressional chartered organization.
So
we're saying, well, you have to be.
So you have to be affiliated with some kind of national organization in order to be part of.
Yes,
this
exactly.
Is it a new committee they're forming?
Pardon me?
Is it a new committee that you're trying to form? That's the part I guess I'm confused about, because it's the same. So the same Cook County committee is now saying in order to be on that committee, you got to be associated with a national organization.
Yes, in order for us to have a seat, to have a voice, a voting voice, we have to have this state charter registered through the Attorney General's office as a state charter. When we already have done that through the Secretary of State, which is also the Illinois Secretary of State. And so with that being said, what do they mean by associated with them? The only way you can be associated with them is to be a member. Well, why would we want to be a member of them and we already have an organization which we are representing? And in addition to that, a lot of women don't want to be a member of those organizations because they're male-dominated. So many of our women have been, mistreated, unjustified, being a woman veteran in so many ways of not being able to get into those organizations, also dealing with the military sexual trauma, all of those things that they don't want to do with those males, all of them. Because most of the places have bars and, we've always been, having to go there for some reason or the other. We've done programs and things with them. I mean, they're not all bad, but let's just say that there are some that are bad because their intention is not about the veterans in period. They have, bars and do things that we don't do per se.
So when I read the law, what I interpreted it as is that they just had a distinction between state chartered corporations or state chartered charities or veteran service organizations versus nationally or congressionally chartered organizations. Because the VA has a list of organizations on their website that are nationally recognized that they don't necessarily endorse per se, but they have them they're just acknowledged, if you will, as national organizations. They're in good standing. But they're here in Illinois.
Right. They're doing work in Illinois. We're doing work in Illinois.
Right. But then,
we are under the Secretary of State, though. Right. We are already vetted in through the Secretary of State's office.
Right. But what I interpreted where the language was is that those national organizations automatically get a free pass, which happens often in a lot of business organizations. So they can go to Illinois at least, and then they submit their congressional paperwork. And then, bam, it's accepted, or they'll walk right in, and they're already on the committee, or they're already recognized as being an organization legally operating in Illinois, versus someone who's local.
But it is unjust to do so when we already are a chartered organization per se via the Secretary of State's office. In addition, we don't need to be associated with another organization for any reason. Okay. None whatsoever.
Right. But I didn't get that part. But that's the part I don't get. So where did you see where you have to be associated with a national organization to be part of the committee?
It's in the bill.
Okay, I didn't see that part. So that's like I said, I didn't.
It's number 1A, section 15, state charter requirements. To qualify for the state charter status, a veteran service organization must have been formed by and for veterans, have a board where a majority of its members are veterans, and have annual expenditures that demonstrate that a majority of the organization's expenses reflect support for veterans, or B, have a paid membership of at least 15 individuals, and B, associated with a congressionally chartered organization.
Right, but that's the or part.
Now, both of those are really, they're biased in so many ways. Number one is they don't give us any funding. So why would our expenditures have to be proven that we are giving money to the community? And they don't have to do that. They don't have to do that. So there are organizations congressionally chartered who basically have 15 members, and they probably only registered them because they needed 15 members in order to have a charter. They don't have expenses because they don't do anything. That would be another thing. And we're not going to call them out, but we're going to point it out if we have to.
But if they're businesses, they don't have privacy. So corporations don't enjoy privacy. So call them out. Let us know who those organizations are.
Yes. And so one of them, I know for sure, was the Daily chapter. And basically, they don't have funds. They don't do that work. That's not what they do. I know when I first went into the AMVET, I went into the AMVET because they were giving out free memberships, trying to build up their organization. And they do that when members come home from service, too. They'll pay their membership. So it's not like you going in there willingly. You're going in there because they're giving you a free ride. Okay? Now, in addition to that, they've only had the one woman in national to be a commander. Now, they just got one in the DAV, and we want to congratulate the lady, and we're glad that they're finally making some progress. But just look at this. Over a century, you have one woman, okay? Over a century. I'm still not happy about it because I don't think it's anything to clap about. It shouldn't have taken them that long to understand that women have served this country too. Okay? Now, not only do we have to do those things that are not, necessarily the same as the other organizations, is telling us that now we have to, and we have the money to do it. That's what we do in our organization, is we help veterans in the community, women veterans. So those things are not a problem for us. It's just that we should not be mandated to have to do those things, and they don't have to do anything.
I have also a serious issue with what's conceived as a national organization that might be operating, particularly for veterans, that doesn't actually do anything for veterans.
No, not at all. And then who's vetting them? How do we know that they're in good standing? We don't know because there's no sanctions for them to find out. So everyone should be doing. Here's a case right here. Colorado American Legion Charter suspended. Now, this was just on August the 9th. Now, if they were our so much the person who we would have to be associated with, then they're suspended. We'd be suspended too. Because they would have been the ones who basically, they're our sponsor. Should we call them a sponsor? And then keeping in mind that these are organizations that are paid memberships. So what are they doing? Recruiting for those organizations so that they can have members in their organization by making us have to affiliate with them.
So you're saying
the only way that we can affiliate with them is that we basically become a member of them. And then that's not right, because we can't become a member on a membership way, is because they have a delegate already. We wouldn't be the delegate. They already have a delegate.
So
that's how they get on the organization.
So this particular group, the Colorado group you're talking about, they were suspended because of what?
They were suspended more than likely, and I did see bits and pieces of it. It's probably the finances. Somebody who's been in their finances. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I can almost vouch that it is because I saw a lot of it. But the one that I'm looking at right now, it only is the one this was the first one I think that went out, indicating that their charter has been canceled for a year. And they did audits and things like that. But that's not the only one.
There's
another one in Joliet.
Was this a correctionally recognized charter? So they had their stuff
American
suspended.
Legion.
American Legion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and here's another one in Joliet. Same thing with this one. Now, this one was a couple, a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, and a boyfriend or something. The same thing with them. Charged with stealing from American Legion riders. They had their money. There's another one. Now, that one is where's that one in Joliet? There's one in Cincinnati. Same thing.
That leads us to more questions, because the American Legion as a national organization is one thing, but then the local houses or local charters or chapters, I should say, around the country are different things. So but
those are the ones that are at the table.
Right.
Those are the ones that are at the table.
Right.
And they don't have to be in good standing. So who's vetting them in? No one is vetting them in.
Now I see what the problem is.
So everybody should be doing the same type of registration into the Attorney General's office, where they are actually reporting that they are in good standing with that certificate every year. We should all be doing the same thing, because that's what we're doing when we sit at that table. We're doing the same thing.
This is America's Heroes Group. Rochelle, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.